Hello friends, welcome to Selenium interview question and answer part 8. This is Haradhan once again as usual. Today I will discuss about 25 set of question and answer from Selenium WebDriver. Thank you all for watching my videos. In case you are enjoying my videos and learning automation testing and Java, please like and share my videos. Do not forget to subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so that you will get notification as and when I will upload any new videos. Do not forget to provide your valuable comment for any input or suggestion. Stay tuned for my next video. So I already posted 7 videos for Selenium question and answer including TestNG, where I already covered 175 questions in previous 7 videos. Here in part 8, I will cover another 25 set of questions which are specifically from Selenium WebDrivers. How to perform different operation on images in Selenium WebDriver. So you already, whenever you are going through any web page, right? You already seen some, images like the edit box, checkbox, link, parcel link, like that. You will also get some images. So whenever if you try to inspect on those images, right? If you press F12 button from your keyboard and if you mouse over the inspector button on the images, so you will see that name is starting with img image. Okay, so images link are the links in web page represented by an image which when clicked sometimes navigate to a different window or page. Okay, it's kind of link whenever you are clicking, so obviously it can sometimes it can navigate to a same page or sometimes it can open to a new page, new window, new page. So for the images, user definitely can't use the by.link text or by.parcel link text method because images are basically have no links text at no link text at all. Okay, that is the reason. Obviously, whenever we want to identify the images, it is better to use the either CSS or Xpath. So drag and drop is an action which performed with the mouse when user moves, drags an web element and then places or drop in the other alternate area, right? So whenever we are dealing with the images can be dropped, drag and drop to from one place to another place. Either if we know the source and destination, so obviously source we know, even in case we are knowing the destination, so we can drag and drop the from source to destination. Otherwise, if we do not know the destination, if we need to move it through some pixels x and y axis, so we need to simply give that like x and y axis pixel so that image will be moved to that particular destination. So action classes has two methods that support drag and drop, right? First is drag and drop, where you need to identify the source locator and destination locator. Source locator will be image and destination locator where you simply need to drop the particular images. In case if you not sure about the destination locators, so using the actions dot drag and drop by, you can give the x-axis pixel of the destination locator and y-axis pixels of destination locator, also source locator. So obviously images will be shifted by that particular pixels through the x and y-axis whatever is given. So you need to use drag and drop by methods available in the action class. What is tooltip in a web page? Tooltips is a text that appears when a mouse hovers over an object like a link, image, button or text area in any web page. The text often gives more information about the object on which appears, right? So you already gone through different web pages, right? You already seen, suppose whenever there are some of the object is there, right? Images, button or link. So if you mouse over that particular, your cursors to that particular, images, button or link, some text will be visible. So that is called the tooltips text. So whenever that text, whatever will appear is called as tooltips text. Okay, tooltips are displayed automatically when user hover the pointer over an object and are removed when user clicks on control or move the mouse or when tips times out. So whenever you are mousing hover right to the particular element, obviously your text will be visible, and if you remove the control from that particular or the mouse from that particular element, so obviously your right text will be vanished or no longer be displayed. Okay, so tooltips were traditionally implemented as a title attribute to an element. The value of this attribute was shown as a tooltip on mouse over. This is a static text giving the information of the element with no styling. So obviously most of the time like whatever text is displayed is a static text, not the dynamic one. Actually that particular text is not going to change over the time to time, right? So that is a static text or fixed text. For accessing or verifying the static tooltip which are implemented using the HTML title attribute, user can simply use the get attribute title. So with that particular method get attribute title, user can get the title of the tooltips, right? Return value of this method, which is the tooltips text, you can compare with the expected value for the verification. And obviously, if it's passed, so obviously test case will pass. If case it is fail, test case will fail. So that is the tooltips for any web page. How tooltip can be handled in Selenium WebDriver? First, you need to create a object or instance of the action class. Then you need to find the element and store into the web element, right? You need to mouse over the, you need to identify the element through maybe get link, parcel link text or CSS or expert. Then you need to identify the element and you need to store in web element, right? Then once the already whatever object or instance you have created for the action class, okay, using the action class you need to move to element to handle the tooltips using the move to element method, right? Then you can get the text of the web element using get text method, and whatever text you are getting it, you can store it in the strings. Then obviously you can verify it with the expected one, or maybe you can use the later point of time as and when required. Now scroll down web page in Selenium WebDrivers happens, right? So obviously you already seen lot of page, right, where all the pages element is not visible in a single page. Either you need to move right or move down, right? Scroll down or scroll up, right? Okay. So scroll bars allow user to move around screen in horizontal or vertical directions if the current page scroll does not fit the visible area of the screen. It is used to move the window up and down, right? So you can see in case the page is not getting fixed, fit into the window, there will be scroll bars, right? To which we can vertically or horizontally shift the screen, okay, window, okay. To scroll using Selenium, user need to use JavaScript Executor interface, which help to execute JavaScript method through Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so there are three alternate way through which you can scroll down a web page. One is, right, you can scroll down a page by using window.scrollBy method. Okay, so through which you can scroll vertically down by some pixels, right? So for that you need to use the JavaScript executor. So as JavaScript executor is the interface in the Selenium WebDriver, you directly can't create an object or instance. If you want to create an object or instance, you simply need to typecast the driver. That is the WebDriver reference, right? Once the object or instance is created, then you need to use execute method, execute script method. So in the JavaScript executor, two methods is there: execute script, execute asynchronous script. Okay, as we are dealing with the normals, right, scroll down, so obviously we have to use the execute script. We will not be using the asynchronous script. So with the object or instance, you need to use dot execute script methods, then window dot scroll by method. You need to give the right y axis pixel so that it will vertically down by that particular pixels. Otherwise, if you want to scroll the web page to the till the end, that means bottom of the page, right, you need to use the window.scroll2 method. Similarly, you need to first create an object instance for the JavaScript executor by typecasting driver. Then you need to, with that particular object instance, you need to use dot execute script, then window.scroll2, and then you need to give 0 document.body.scroll height. So it will, scroll the web page to the bottom of the page or end of the page, right? And in case, suppose for a particular web page, if you want to click a web element, right? So whenever you are finding that element and if you want to perform some actions on the element, but actions will obviously do, okay, but you will not able to see whether that particular web element is visible or clicking or not, right? Okay, so before clicking on the web element, first you need to identify the web element through any property, ID, name, CSS, okay, or expert like that. Then you need to use the window dot scroll into view method, okay, so that with that method user can scroll down to a particular element, right? So first you need to identify the element and you need to store it into any web element, suppose element. Then with the help of JavaScript executor object or instance whatever we have created, we need to use execute script method, then argument 0 dot scroll into view the particular methods available in the JavaScript, right, JavaScript executor. then you need to give the element reference. So these are the three different methods available. One is window.scroll by, to which you can scroll down a page by some pixels vertically. And if you use window.scroll to method, you can scroll the web page the end of the page or bottom of the page, and if you want to scroll down to a particular element, you need to use window.scroll into view method available in the JavaScript executor. Why screenshot need to be captured for any project? I think most of the testers, whoever is working for any kind of testing project, right? In case you are not taking the screenshot whenever you are finding any bug, okay, it is not much relevant, because sometimes if you are logging the bug and if you are not attaching the screenshot, okay, whenever it is going to the developer end, right, sometimes they will not be acknowledged, right, or maybe sometimes they are not finding the exact problems so that they can do analyze the root cause. Okay, that is the reasons. So capturing the screenshot whenever you are doing the any kind of testings, it's very important for the testers. So capturing the screenshot for the test execution is one of the important scripts in any test automations, which help user to identify defects and problem by referring the screenshot. Selenium WebDriver provides text screenshots interface to capture a screenshot of the web page when exceptions or errors occurred during the execution of the code. When a tester tests any applications, maybe many of the functionality not working compared to the expected result. So tester log these defects and tell the developer about the getting of defects in the code and suggest to fix the defect or bugs so that they can retest once again, right? However, developer may not accept as a defect without required evidence and details. So developers need the required evidence to analyze the issue. That is the reasons taking the screenshot is one of the mandatory evidence to view and understand whether the test has been failed. And sometimes it's happen also. Suppose developer is fixing your code in the environment, right? And you are not getting the build right properly, but because they are changing in the direct environment for the small project, okay. And whenever and after the fixing, they are saying that the particular defect is no longer visible, right? But you can't fight with them because you do not take any screenshot. So right now, if you want to check in the application, so you will find that the code is working fine, right? So obviously, the developer will reject your defect. That is the reason it is better to take the screenshot as a evidence perspective. It's though it is manual execution or automation execution. Until you are, capturing the screenshot, your defect or the test execution result may not be valid properly. Okay. Sometimes the execution result will be referred by the other stakeholder, right? So obviously they will not able to understand with the test data. Okay. So they will require the step-by-step screenshot to understand whether your test execution result is matching with the expected result. So that is the reasons without screenshot the testing will not be successful. Okay. So user can take the screenshot in any of the images file like the PNG, JPG or JPG, right? Sometimes also you used to take the screenshot in Word document or Excel file also. What are the possible scenario where user might need to capture screenshot using Selenium WebDriver? So there are a lot of possible scenario can be there real time also. So I have jotted down few important possible scenario where user might need to capture screenshot with the help of Selenium WebDriver. One is application issues, right? Application is not working properly. Assertion failure. Suppose if you want to you are expecting something, but in actual something is coming, right? So there is a deviation, right? So obviously some assertion is getting failed, right? Difficulty to find web element on the web page. Suppose you already written the code, okay, with the help of some CSS or maybe some ID, but sometimes it gets changed, right? So obviously you are not able to find the element, right? Sometimes timeout to find the web element on the web page. Suppose web page is not loading in the time whatever you have given, right? Suppose you maximum timeout you have given 30 seconds, but web page is or a particular element is getting loaded for 40 seconds. So obviously you will get failed, right? So you need to keep the screenshot. And sometimes also exception or error occurs during the runtime. So these are the possible scenario where obviously user might need to capture the screenshot with the help of Selenium WebDriver. How we can capture the screenshot in Selenium WebDriver? So capturing the screenshot in Selenium WebDriver is a 3-step process. Okay. First, you need to use the text screen screenshot. Okay. Text screenshot particular interface. Okay. As this is interface, you can't directly create the object or instance for the text screenshot. You need to typecast the driver. Okay. So object is created for the text screenshot interface, then you need to call get screenshot as method to create an image file which is provided by the text screenshot interface to capture the screenshot for the web page displayed in the driver object. So it will take the screenshot of the whole page, right? So you can see first we are creating the object or instance for the text screenshot interface with typecasting drivers. Then with that particular object, we are creating a source file, right? Where we'll be placing the screenshot with the help of file class, right? Screenshot object or instance, then dot get screenshot as method and output dot type as output type dot file. The argument output type dot file specified in the get screenshots as method will return the captured screenshot in the form of file, right? Okay. Therefore, user can store in the variable source file with the type file. And once the source file is created, then you can place the source file to a destination file. So last step will be save the file object returned by get screenshot as method using copy method, okay, of the file handler class. So there is a class file handler available under which copy method is available. You can copy from the source file to destination file. File handler dot copy source file to destination file, where you can place the screenshot to any of the destination file. This is the three-step process to capturing screenshot in Selenium WebDriver with the help of text screenshot interface and get screenshot as method and file handler class and copy method. What is implicit and explicit wait? First, you need to understand wait, right? When a page is loaded by the browsers, the element which user want to interact might take some time to complete load, as most of the web applications are developed using Ajax or JavaScript. It makes user difficult to identify the element, and in case element is not found due to the page load, it will throw element not visible exceptions. Using wait, we can resolve the problem, right? Sometimes any web page or any particular element can take some time to load it fully, right? Sometimes it can take 40 seconds, 1 minute like that. But if you do not wait for the particular page to load, load all the element or page fully, right? Your execution will be failed. That is the reason you need to use some wait time, right? So here I have mentioned the implicit wait and explicit wait. What does it mean by implicit wait? Implicit wait are used to provide a default waiting time between each consecutive stage step or command across the entire stage script. Thus, the subsequent stage steps should only execute when that have elapsed after executing the previous stage step or command. The default setting is 0. Once user set the time, WebDrivers will wait for that time before throwing an exception. Syntax is driver.manage.timeout, implicit wait, and here you need to give this time unit dot second, and here whatever time after time unit you can wait for any time. Okay. Suppose in case your pages can take 40 minutes, 40 seconds, right? So obviously you can give 50 seconds so that your page will fully loaded. After that your element will be clicked or some operation will be done. Okay, and it will not fail. It will not throw the element not visible exception. But the problem is that in the implicit wait, whenever you are giving the wait time, suppose 50 seconds, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, even your page is loaded before that, but still your page will be wait for that particular time. So it will obviously delay the execution time. Okay. And also, what is explicit wait? Explicit wait is used to pause the execution until the time a particular condition is met or maximum time has elapsed. Explicit wait applied for a particular instance only. So implicit wait, we are waiting for the whole page load, right? Whereas for the explicit wait, we are talking about particular instance or element, right? Explicit wait gives better options than that of the implicit wait, as it will wait for the dynamically loaded Ajax element. Syntax is that you need to use WebDrivers wait and right WebDriver wait class, and for that you need to create an object new WebDriver wait driver.timeout. Here you need to give the timeout. Suppose if you are giving 30 seconds, okay. After that you need to identify the element, okay. So you need to use that particular object instance for whatever you created for the WebDriver wait, then dot until expected condition, then whatever operation it will be element to be clickable or the URL is visible or title is matched like that. You need to give the locators, right? ID or by.id, by.xpath, CSS like that. Once the element is visible, then you can click it, right? So explicit wait, you are giving some timeouts, but in case your element is visible before the timeout, immediately it will click and immediately proceed to the next steps. Okay, so that is the maximum timeout you are giving. Suppose if you are giving maximum timeout of 60 seconds, and in case your element is visible in 10 seconds, so obviously it will click in the 10 seconds, it will not wait for another 50 seconds. So that is the difference between the implicit and explicit timeout. So implicit timeout, it will wait for the maximum timeout whatever you are given, and it will obviously work for the total page, whereas explicit timeout will be only for a specific object or instance or element. And in case you are giving the maximum timeout, but as soon as the object is visible, object is clickable, or whatever expected condition is matching, so it will be immediately perform that actions, and after that it will proceed to the next step, but it will not wait for the total wait time whatever you have given for the explicit wait. What are the major usage of explicit wait in Selenium WebDrivers? Explicit wait can be used for the following cases. In case if you want to find a single element, right? Explicit wait can be used. If you want to find multiple elements, if you want to check the titles and the URL of the page, if you want to check the element status, whether this element is clickable, displayed or not, and if you want to interact with the frames, right? What is fluent wait? So in the previous question I already told about like implicit wait and explicit wait. Apart from that, there is another wait. What is the which is the fluent wait? The importance of fluent wait is to tell WebDriver to wait for a condition as well as the frequency with which we want to check the condition before throwing an no such element exception. Because in the implicit and explicit wait we are talking about the total timeout, right? For the implicit wait we are giving the page load timeout, and for the explicit wait we are giving the maximum timeout and obviously the conditions, but we are not giving the frequency, right? Suppose in case we are giving 60 seconds, right? So it will check for only one time, right? And in case the object is not visible even after 60 seconds, so it will throw some error. Okay, but in case we are giving, suppose even sometimes it's happened that suppose if you are expecting 50 seconds element to be visible or maybe page to be loaded, but sometimes particular condition it can take suppose 70 seconds, so obviously skip will fail, right? But through help of fluent wait we can give the maximum timeout as well as we can set the frequency. Suppose in case we are giving the timeout as suppose 60 seconds, and in case we are giving the frequency as 20 seconds, so every 20 seconds it will try to check whether that object is visible or page is getting loaded or not. So it will total check 3 times, right? 60 divided by 20. Okay, in case anything is visible in that particular 3 attempt, so obviously your script will be executed and it will proceed to the next step. So fluent wait class implements to wait interface in Selenium WebDriver. Fluent wait finds the web element repeatedly at regular interval of time until the timeout or till the element gets found. Unlike WebDriver wait, user need to build customized wait method based on the conditions. So that is the syntax. You need to use the wait right interface. You need to use fluent wait class. So you need to pass the WebDrivers and you need to create an object or instance, right? So with that object, you need to dot right wait dot with timeout. You need to give the total durations and dot following every you give to return durations. Okay, so here total timeout is 30 and I have already given the frequency is 5, so it will try to check 6 times, right? In case for any time it is object is found, obviously it will perform the action and it will proceed to the next step, and dot ignoring exception dot class. So that is the syntax. Web element first we need to right we need to, the difference is that for the explicit wait there are a lot of customized methods available, but for the fluent wait there is no method available. You need to create your own custom methods, right? So to identify the web element, right, you need to use the wait interface, then until you need to create new functions, right? Okay, where we need to a public web element apply WebDriver drivers returning, because we are as we are storing in the element driver dot find element by dot element locator and element value. So that is the difference between the fluent and explicit wait. Okay, so for the explicit wait, obviously it will only check for the one time. In case object is not visible, it will throw the error. But here fluent wait we can give the frequency and it will try to check every frequency, right? But after the total time is elapsed, so it will then throw error only. But in the fluent wait, no customized method is there, no inbuilt method is there. You need to create your own customized method. Whereas for the explicit wait, already customized method is already available in the explicit wait. How to set the size of the browser window using Selenium WebDriver? Sometimes whenever we are opening the browsers, right, through the Selenium command, right, obviously we need to set the browsers sometimes, okay, size. Obviously whenever initially whenever browser is not open, browser is open, right, it's not getting maximized. So obviously we need to maximize this browsers, right. So we need to use the driver.manage window to maximize. So it will, after opening, it will maximize the browser. In case we need to resize the current window to particular dimensions, we need to use the dimension class and set size methods, right? So with the dimension class, we need to create an object or instance. Here we need to pass the x-axis and y-axis pixels, right? Then you need to use the set size methods, and where you are passing the dimensions, object or instance, whatever you have created for the dimension class. Once this set, dimension is set, you can get the size, right? And another method is available, set position method. Minimize a browser window using web drivers, user need to use point class and set position method. So first, and for the point class, you need to create a object or instance. Here the x-axis will be 0 and y-axis you can give anything, right? Then you need to driver.manage.window set position. You need to use the particular object reference whatever you created for the point class. Then once the set position is done, you can also get the position of the current window, right? That are the three important methods available for the setting the size of the browser window with the help of Selenium WebDriver. How to get text from a web element in Selenium WebDriver? So we can use the get text methods to get the text or text area present in the HTML, including sub element text or with return value as string. First, we need to identify the web element through any of the properties, right? ID, text, sorry, ID, name, class, or CSS or expert, right? Once the web element is identified, so we need to use that web element and dot get text, and where it will give the text, we need to store any string. Obviously, after it is stored in string, we can use it. So whenever any text area or text is obviously read only, then we need to use the get text method. Okay, but the next question is how to get attribute of a web element in Selenium WebDriver. So whenever there is some editable text, right, and we already entered some value. So using the get text method, we can't extract text from the text bar or any editable items, right? So for that, we need to use the get attributes, where we need to pass parameters value, right, to get a text from the editable text box or text area. So you can see here, first we need to identify the element, driver.find element by element locator value, and dot get attribute. You need to pass the value, right? So after that, you will get the value attribute and you need to store it string, and once it is stored string, you can print it out. So that is the basic difference between the, right, get text and get attribute to value. So get text will be only applicable for the read only text box of text area, and in case it is editable text box of text area, you can't get the text through the get text method. You need to use the get attribute value. Suppose for a particular, suppose if you open the Facebook page, right, there will be some value where you need to enter some email or text, email or password. Once you enter the email in the text box, you can't extract that particular text through the get text. You need to use the get attribute value. How to get CSS property from a web element in Selenium WebDriver? So CSS property plays a pivotal role for identifying the any kind of web element, right? So whenever if you want to get CSS property, we need to use the get CSS value method, okay, which will fetch the value of CSS property of any web element, and user have to pass the CSS property. What exact CSS property we need to extract it, right? CSS property can be background colors, right? Border bottom width, okay, border bottom color, like that. Okay, so you need to first identify the web element, right, through any ID, name, or CSS expert locator. Then got dot get CSS value, you need to pass the right property, and you need to store it into an string type, right, and you can print it, or maybe you can use it later at any point of time as and when required. So that's why you can get the CSS property with the help of get CSS value, and you need to pass the CSS property whatever you want to get it. How to set size value from a web element in Selenium WebDriver? For that you need to use the getSize method in Selenium WebDriver. It determines the size of an element. Size obviously constitutes two different parts. One is the width and another is the height, right? With the sum of respective attributes. You need to use the dimension class. You need to create an object for instance where you need to first provides the element locators. Driver.find element by element locator ID name CSS expert link test virtual link test. Then you with the help of getSize method you can get the size method. Sometimes if you want to get the width, so getSize dot width or dot height, you can get it relevant. Okay, if you use getSize, so you will get width and height, and if you want to get width and height, that is uniquely you need to use again dot getSize dot width or dot height. What is headless browser testing? So performing test execution of the web application without opening a browser is called headless browser testing. Headless browser acts similar to a normal web browser. User have full control over the web page loaded into the headless browsers. The only difference is user will not be able to see graphical user interface. So why headless browser plays a pivotal role, right? Sometimes, okay, some of the system does not have any browser installed, right? Okay, so obviously you need to use the headless browser. Sometimes whenever you are opening the browser, if you want to see the execution, it will take right takes time also, and sometimes also it will take memory, right? So you want to avoid the memory usage, or maybe you want to speed up the execution. So in that case, we can use the headless browser testing. Okay. User have no options other than using headless testing when user machine does not have a GUI. For instance, if we want to run our test in Unix, right? So in case user does not have any GUI, we can also use the headless browser testing. It is recommended to use the headless browser when tests are executed in parallel, as user interface based browsers consume a lot of memory resources, so headless browser can be used for server-side performance testing too. Okay. Sometimes whenever you are opening the browser performance, right, obviously it can take a lot of memory resources. To avoid this thing, you can also use the headless browser testing. Anyone can run test case using headless browsers. Then user will get the result just in a second. Obviously, it will speed up the execution, right? When tester have to run the test case on the remote machine or server which does not have any browsers, but still user have to execute the test case, then obviously you can try to use the headless browser. In case in any particular machines no browsers is installed or available or not working, so obviously you can go with the headless browser. What are the important example of headless browser testing driver available in the Selenium? So HTMLUnit driver, Ghost drivers, Phantom.js, Chrome drivers, Firefox drivers, right? Zombie.js and web drivers, that are the drivers already supported headless driver. But HTMLUnit is the most important drivers for the headless browser testing. Why user prefer headless browser testing using HTMLUnit drivers? So HTMLUnit driver is the most lightweight and the fastest implementation headless browsers for the web drivers. It is based of HTMLUnit. It is known as headless browser driver. It is same as Chrome, IE or Firefox driver, but does not have any GUI. And it is as I already mentioned, is lightweight. Obviously, whenever you are dealing with other driver also, but if you also work with HTMLUnit drivers, so it will fast your execution. The other driver, in case it is taking suppose 20 seconds, but with the help of HTMLUnit driver, it will take only less than half time, maybe 8 seconds, 10 seconds like that. So what I have already listed some important features of the HTMLUnit driver, why it is used for the headless browser testing. The first is like it supports HTTPS and HTTP protocols. It supports for HTML responses. Suppose if you want to click submit forms working the DOM model of the HTML document, etc. It supports for cookies. It supports proxy server supports, right? And also it supports JavaScript. It has the ability to customize the request headers being sent to the servers. And HTMLUnit driver also have the ability to determine whether getting response from the servers should throw exception or should be returned as the page of the appropriate type. So that is the syntax for the creating object or instance for the HTMLUnit driver, web driver, new HTMLUnit driver. Simple syntax. Okay. Once the driver is created, you can do any operation with the drivers, right? You can maximize the window, but no longer be, no, not required, but obviously this will be right. It will not open your browsers. It is headless. So obviously you need to find the element and to perform the operation. So after performing the operation, it will not open any browsers in your system, but it will obviously give you the result. That is the importance of headless browser testing with the help of HTMLUnit driver. What are cookies? So you already, whenever you are working through mobiles, right, or desktop or laptop, you already seen, right. Whenever you are going through some web page, sometimes your laptop, desktop, or mobile store those URL, right, in your, memory, right. Okay. So cookies are files stored in local computer containing information submitted by the website visited by user. The information is stored in key value pair and allows a particular website to customize its content as per user. Every time the user loads the website, the browser sends the cookie back to the server to notify the website of the user previous activity. So cookies have a specific lifespan defined by the creators. At the end of this, a cookie becomes expired. Cookie often track information like how frequently user visits, what are the times of visit, what banner have been clicked on, what button clicked, user preference, item in the shopping cart, etc. This allows the site to present the users with information customized to fit your need. Suppose sometimes if you are opening a particular page, right, and sometimes if you are going to the particular, suppose booking site, sometimes you are retrieving the orders, right. So this will be separate cookies, not the same cookie, though it is the same site, right. Cookies are domain specific, right. A domain cannot read or write a cookie created by another domain. This is done by the browsers for security purposes. Cookies are also browser specific. Okay, this browser stores the cookies in different location. Suppose you are working with the Firefox browser, right? You are already navigating to different pages, but the same cookie will not be stored in the IE or Chrome browser. Similarly, in case you are navigating through Chrome browser, right? Similarly, those cookies will not be saved in the IE or Firefox browser. So it is browser dependent, right? Some browser limits the number of cookies stored by each domain. Suppose in case your browser limit is about 50. Suppose whenever it is exceeding that number of cookies as 50, so obviously the oldest one will be replaced by the newer one, right? Cookies name are case sensitive. Suppose whenever you are storing a cookie as username, and if you want to search with that smaller username, it will not be right retrievable because it is case sensitive. What are the important methods available to handle cookies in Selenium WebDriver? There are a lot of important methods available. First, you need to add the cookies through add cookies method, right? This method is used to create and add cookies in the cookie file. So you need to use the cookie and you need to create an object for instance for using the cookie class, new cookie, cookie name and cookie value you need to provide here. And driver.manage add cookie and you need to use that particular cookie object difference, right? So cookie will be added to your browsers. Hence, with the help of getCookies method, you can return all the cookies which are stored in the web browser. So driver.manage.getCookies and whatever list of cookies you are storing with the help of set, right, interface, you can get all the cookies. And then here you need to use a enhance for loop. You need to create a new object, right, and you need to also pass the particular set whatever you have already created. Then you can get the particular object, you can get the name or get the value of the cookies, right. Similarly, next is like get cookies name. User can use the method to return a specific cookie according to its name, right. Manage.driver cookie name, and here you need to provide the name so that you will get the name with the help of already provided name. Similarly, if you want to delete the cookie, can use delete cookies. If you want to delete cookie by name, you can use the syntax manage.delete cookie named and you need to provide that particular name. So that particular cookie will be deleted. Right? In case if you want to delete all the cookies, you need to use the delete all cookies method. So it will be delete all the cookies from their specific browsers, whatever already stored by you, right? So manage.delete all cookies. So that are the important methods available for handling cookies in the Selenium WebDriver. What is wait and why we use Thread.Sleep in Selenium WebDriver? So wait is the process of matching the speed of action and reaction. You already know every action and equals the equal and opposite reactions, right? So what is action in Selenium? Suppose if you are performing something. So that will be called an actions. And obviously, when the web application is navigating to some pages or right, or web application is whatever is displaying, it is called as reaction. Three important methods are already available to synchronize the Selenium WebDriver application. So what does it mean by synchronization? So synchronization is the page loading, right, or object loading or element loading, right? Suppose whenever you are opening with the any web page, right, sometimes it took some lot of time, maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds, sometimes 1 minute, right? If you do not wait for the particular time, right, and if you want to perform the operation for a particular web page or a particular element, right, your script will fail. That is the reason synchronization is very much required, right? Synchronization can be helped with the help of sleep methods, right? And page load timeout, set script timeout, implicit wait, explicit or WebDriver wait, and Fluent wait. So I already discussed about implicit wait, Fluent wait, and explicit wait, right? So, so here I will discuss about Thread.Sleep in the particular question. So, so why Thread.Sleep is important? So thread is a class in the Java. Thread.Sleep is a static method present in the Java class. It makes Selenium WebDriver to sleep for the specific time. User can specify the time. In case you are giving right entering suppose thread.sleep 20, so that is the millisecond part. So in the code, so Selenium WebDriver will wait for 20 milliseconds. So sleep method takes the argument in millisecond as the input format. In case you want to sleep for 20 seconds, you need to give 20,000 milliseconds, right? 20,000 milliseconds. So you need to mention thread.sleep 20,000. So it will wait for 20 seconds. That is the syntax you need to understand. If you simply want give 20, so it will only wait for 20 milliseconds, which is nothing, right? In case if you want to wait for suppose 60 seconds, you need to give 60,000 millisecond. So sleep method will not worry about whether the element is present or not. It just sleep till the mentioned time. It is also called static wait or blind wait or dead wait, right? So in case you are mentioning the sleep thread.sleep for specific time, so when, whether your page is visible, object is clickable or not, it will not depend, right? It will wait or sleep. It will pass the ideal time. That much after the time is elapsed, it will only try to find the element or try to perform the operation. That is the reason thread.sleep should not use much, right? Because it will wait that particular time, right? In case your object is visible, suppose say 5 seconds, but if you given thread.sleep is 30 seconds, so obviously it will wait, your script will wait for 30 seconds to perform the next operation. Obviously it will, decrease the execution speed of your browsers, right? And it will take much time to execute and script. But whenever if you want to debug, obviously you can use the thread.sleep so that you can identify whether particular element is getting identifiables or getting operation is getting successful or not. So in that for the debugging purposes, you can use thread.sleep. So assume a practical example of web page application in that user are having more than 5 pages and 25 operations. In case user use thread.sleep 5 seconds, right? For every operation. So obviously for 25 time it will wait. So obviously it will 125 seconds, which is around 2 minutes. So the dead time is more and hence no one prefer to wait for the 2 minutes. So obviously it will wait for the 2 minutes. In case if you have like 20 script, right? So obviously whatever time it is taking, and apart from that it will take another 40 minutes extra. So it will take a lot of hell time, right? A lot of time to execute that. That is the reason Thread.Sleep does not use much in the real-time framework. When using Thread.Sleep, user have to mention wait time in advance, but there is no guarantee that the element will be displayed in the specific wait time. That hence there may be case when it will take maybe more than the specified time to load, and again user script will fail. Obviously, in case you are giving some 30 seconds and your script, your page is not loaded or object is not visible even after 30 seconds, so your script will fail. So no one can guarantee that in case you are using thread.sleep and you are waiting for some time, but your script will pass. So that is the reason it is better to use explicit wait or WebDriver wait. What is the importance of page load timeout in Selenium WebDriver? Page load timeout in Selenium WebDriver request or set the time limit for a page to load. In case the page is not loaded within the given time frame, Selenium throws timeout exception. Suppose in the explicit way we already seen, or maybe Fluent way we want to load for particular element, right? But in case we want to wait for a particular page to be loaded, so obviously we can use the page load timeout. so that it will wait for the particular specified time. After that, in case it is not page is fully loaded, it will give you timeout exception. User can set the page load timeout using the page load timeout method present in the browser classes, like which is the Firefox browser, Chrome browser, iDriver, etc. So what is the syntax? Driver.manage.timeouts, and you need to use the page load timeouts. Here you need to use the time unit second. You can give any time. Because in case if you were giving 30 seconds, so obviously before giving timeout exception, it will wait for 30 seconds. In case still the page is not fully loaded within 30 seconds, it will give you the error. Otherwise, it will proceed to the next step once the page is loaded before 30 seconds. What is the importance of setScript timeout in Selenium WebDriver? The setScript timeout sets the time limit for the asynchronous script to finish execution. In case the process is not completed before the time limit, Selenium WebDriver throws timeout exception. So setScript timeouts only dealing with the asynchronous script. The setScript timeout methods affects only JavaScript code executed with execute asynchronous script and nothing else. In particular, execute skip is not affected by it at all. So in the JavaScript execute, you already see, right, there is two methods available. One is the execute skip and one is the execute asynchronous skip. So whenever there we need to use the execute asynchronous skip, we need to use the setScript timeout. The default timeout for setScript timeout method is 0. In case user does not set any time, then the execute asynchronous time method may fail because the JavaScript code may take more than 0 seconds. So to avoid unnecessary failure, user need to set the setScript timeout, right? So here you can what the syntax, driver.manage.timeout setScript timeout. You are giving suppose the maximum timeout, so that will wait for the maximum timeout, time unit second. We need to create an object instance for the JavaScript executor. Add the interface. We need to typecast the driver so that we can create an object instance. Then we can get the current times. We can store it in the long, right, execution start time, that particular variables. Then we need to use that object or instance for the JavaScript executor, execute asynchronous script, right? And window.setTime argument dot length -1. Suppose we are giving the 5 seconds. We are waiting, right? And after that, we want to get the difference between that time and after waiting the 5 seconds. So it will give you suppose like 5 seconds, some millisecond, because obviously to execute the script it will take some millisecond, right? So it will give the result. So whenever you want to deal with the asynchronous script, we need to use that particular set script timeout. But whenever you need to use the synchronous normal execute script, no need to use the set script timeout. It will not work. What is JavaScript executor in Selenium? JavaScript execution interface available in org.openqr.selenium package in Selenium WebDriver. JavaScript executor interface has two abstract methods as mentioned below. You already know that whenever there is an interface, it will be only constant the list of abstract methods. So here in the JavaScript executor, two abstract methods is there: one execute skip and execute asynchronous skip. So execute JavaScript in the context of the currently selected frame or window. The skip fragment provided will be executed as the body of an anonymous skip functions. User can also pass complicated argument to it. Whereas with asynchronous script, it renders more quickly. Instead of forcing user to wait for a skip to download before the page renders, this method will execute an asynchronous piece of JavaScript in the context of currently selected frame or window in Selenium. The JavaScript so executed is single threaded with the various callback functions which run synchronously, right? In Selenium WebDriver, locator like ID, name, class, XPath, CSS, etc. are used to identify an element and perform operation on it. Suppose in case you are not able to identify the element, right, through any of the web element properties, web element locator, right? So for that case, you need to use the JavaScript executor, using which we can perform a desired operation on the web element. So you need to create an object or instance first. So the JavaScript executor J caps, script A small, and executor is caps. So that particular syntax you need to remember. JavaScript executor, only J and A will be caps and only lower, and other is small, right? J or E will be uppercase and all other is remaining is lowercase. So you need to typecast the drivers. When the object is created, you need to use the execute script and script an argument. How to retrieve title, URL and domain name using JavaScript executor? You already know, right? With the help of driver get title, get current URL, you can get it, right? But in case suppose this driver is not working or maybe some other issue is there, so you can get the title, URL or domain with the help of JavaScript executor. First, you need to create an object or instance. At a JavaScript executor interface, you need to typecast the driver so that you can create an object instance. Once the instance is created, you need to use the execute skip method, and you need to return document.titles. So the title will be returned, and you need to convert it to string, and after that you need to store in string, and then you can print it out. Similarly, if you want to retrieve the URL of any web page, you need to use the same JS object or instance dot execute script return document dot URL, and into convert it to string. After that, you need to store it in any string, so you can get the current URL. Similarly, for domain, retrieve the domain name of any web page, you need to use the object or instance whatever created by JavaScript dot execute skip method return document dot domain. You need to convert it to string, then you can store it in string, right? Okay, then you can print it out, or maybe you can use it as and when required. Okay, so that's all 25 questions from Selenium WebDriver for today's session. Thank you.